Week 13 of the fantasy football season. Here's the top 12 kickers I'm ranking this week. Number 1, Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys. So this week, a good matchup versus Kansas City. A bend but don't break defense. Aubrey, we know he could kick it anywhere from the field. I know last week he did miss one, which is rare for Brandon Aubrey. So this week with Kansas City coming in, Thanksgiving Day, I believe this could be a high-scoring game between these two teams. I think he goes out there, has a good game. Number 2, Ka'imi Fairbairn of the Houston Texans. So Fairbairn, he missed a couple weeks and returned to the lineup last week, and he didn't disappoint with another double-digit fantasy game. So this week in a matchup at the Indianapolis Colts, a bend but don't break type of defense of the Indianapolis Colts, I think Ka'imi Fairbairn, he's going to get his opportunities in this one where this Texan offense stalls out a whole lot. And also it's an indoor game, which is always a plus. Number 3, Cameron Dicker of the Los Angeles Chargers. One of the most accurate kickers of all time is Cameron Dicker. This week back home, coming off the bye week, is this Los Angeles Charger team. And I think they're going to be in the red zone early and often with a great matchup versus the Vegas Raiders. So I think Dicker, he'll go out there, he'll get his opportunities once again this week. And like I said, the Vegas Raiders can't stop anyone. Number 4, Chris Boswell of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Chris Boswell, it's been another good season for him. 50-plus yards obviously hasn't been a problem for him throughout his career. And with the Buffalo Bills coming in where they're bend but don't break defense at times, I know Boswell, it seems like weekly 50-plus yards, he's at least hitting one of those, and a few extra points and another field goal. So this week versus Buffalo, they know they got to put points on the board versus offense. Opportunities will be there for Boswell. Number 5, Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks. So Jason Myers, he's having a great season. Another kicker, that long distance isn't a problem for him. And with Minnesota coming in, even though we know it's been a bad year for the Minnesota Vikings, still their defense is going to hold teams to field goals at times. And I think Jason Myers this week, he'll go out there, get his opportunities, and put it through the uprights. Number 6, Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Harrison Butker last week, the best game of the season easily for him, and winning that ball game for Kansas City where he had double-digit fantasy points in a monster game with 16 fantasy points. So this week at Dallas, defense that's definitely improved over the last few weeks, but still with defense you're going to get points on, I believe, in Dallas. And this week, Thanksgiving game, it's going to be high-scoring, I believe, indoor game as well. So I think Butker, once again, this week goes out there, has a good performance. Number 7, Tyler Loop of the Baltimore Ravens. Tyler Loop, it's been a good rookie season for him. 3 out of 4 games, he's had double-digit fantasy points as Tyler Loop. So this week with Cincinnati coming in, Thanksgiving ball game, most likely going to be a high-scoring game between these two division rivals. And Tyler Loop, 50-plus yards hasn't been a problem for him. And reason Tyler Loop's the kicker now for this Raven team, obviously replacing Justin Tucker. Number 8, Cam Little of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cam Little got off to a slow start early in the season, but ever since week 9, we hit that 68-yarder. Obviously, the record now for the longest kick in NFL history. He's taken off his Cam Little, and this Jacksonville Jaguar offense has been pretty decent as well over the last few weeks. So this week with a plus matchup at a bad Tennessee Titan team, I think Cam Little will get many opportunities in this ball game. Number 9, Evan McPherson of the Cincinnati Bengals. So McPherson, last few weeks, he's showing off the power once again, how far he could kick the football. Last week at a 63-yarder in that ball game was McPherson versus the New England Patriots. And this week at the Baltimore Ravens, like I said, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game where McPherson will get some opportunities out there. This offense should be driving up and down the field a decent amount of times with Joe Burrow back in the lineup. I know T. Higgins, he's out with a concussion, but still Joe Burrow, it doesn't matter who's out there. He's the type of quarterback that's going to put his team in position to score more times than not. Number 10, Andy Rogales of the New England Patriots. So Andy Rogales, it's been a good season for him. Last week it was a big ball game for him at the Cincinnati Bengals. And this week another good matchup versus the New York Giants, that they can't stop anyone, and teams are going up and down the field versus the Giants. So Rogales, pretty much 40, 45-plus yards. It's easy for him. 50-plus yards, a little shaky at times. It could be for Rogales, but when you're in a high-powered offense and on a team that's won 9 in a row, I think Rogales will get his chances this week on Monday night. Once again, number 11, Jake Bates of the Detroit Lions. So the thing with Jake Bates, a lot of extra points. You're going to see from him more games than not for Jake Bates. So last week, it was a big game for Jake Bates. He tied the ball game up, going overtime with a 50-plus yarder in that one versus the New York Giants. And obviously, they won it off a big Jahmyr Gibbs 80-yard touchdown in overtime. So Jake Bates on a high-powered offense. Like I said, though, at times they score too many touchdowns where chances aren't there. But I still think in this ball game versus the Green Bay Packers, one of the better defenses in the league, he'll have an opportunity at a long 1-2. Both in final kicker on rankings. Michael Badgley of the Indianapolis Colts. So this week, Houston coming in, a bend but don't break defense and one of the best defenses in the league. We saw last week 8 sacks on Josh Allen, holding that offense down. And Badgley, for the most part, he's been a solid kicker since they brought him in, because Spencer Schrader's out for the season with the knee injury after he got ran into early in the season. So Badgley opportunities to be there. And like I said, this Texan team, they don't give up a lot of touchdowns, so field goal attempts will definitely be a thing for Badgley this week. So that's the top 12 kickers I'm ranking for week 13 of the fantasy football season.